The Rolleiflex camera to me is almost a character in the film, I would argue. It's part of her in a way. And I was interested to ask you how operational it was for you. Like, were you actually seeing the processing of the photos that you were really taking?
Believe
And
me, I have a whole file on my phone, on my computer, of the images that I was taking as we were shooting, absolutely. And in fact, in the UK, Farley's House, which is the archive of all the Lee Miller material, they just recently did an exhibition with Lee's original photographs and my photographs beside them, so that you can see the two, because we were obviously recreating her real images consistently throughout the film. But I really appreciate what you just said, that the camera felt like part of her. And that Rolleiflex, it had to feel like it was an extension of my arms. It had to kind of be both incredibly present, but then also disappear. It had to feel second nature. I had to be able to do it with my eyes closed, and it's a very complicated piece of kit. It sits, as you have seen, somewhere between the heart and the stomach. And by using the camera in the way that Lee did, she was able to look down at the image, which means that she had direct eye contact with the people that she was photographing, and that's what set her apart. She had this superpower, which was that she could connect with people in a way that was utterly sincere, compassionate, unique. She was able to bear witness in a completely transparent way, whilst also capturing the visual trauma and being that voice, really, that visual voice for the victims of conflict and the people who are left behind, whose stories may otherwise not ever have been captured or told. So it was very special to learn how to use that camera.
I do find this interesting. As I watched the film, after it ended, I miss her. Like I enjoyed spending time with her. Like she's such a force of nature. Like I just love the way she spoke, the way her ideas, the things she says to people. And I was just curious, do you miss her? And I'm not saying that she'll ever leave you, and I'm not saying you're a method actor, but do you miss going to work and being her? And what will you take with you now going forward in your life perspective from her?
Well, the process of developing the film, really from the very beginning, when it was just me for 5 years developing the script, working with the writers, working with Anthony Penrose, Lee's son, who is in his 70s now and was very much a part of my process and collaborator. He was my go-to collaborator and was right by my side. That process was incredibly intense but very important, because she lived so many lives. I really had to get between the cracks of who she truly was. And you know, when that happens, you do really take on that person and they do become a part of you. And because the process for me was so lengthy, I will never miss her, because I feel like she is in me in some way, and I have never been. And I really mean this, I've never felt so inspired in a long-lasting way as I was and still am by Lee Miller, how she lived her life at full throttle with intention and grace and compassion and power, how she redefined femininity to mean resilience and determination and strength. I mean, she was just utterly formidable. She was completely free and comfortable with her physical self in a way that is so unusual and refreshing to see. And she was that 80 years ago. And I took that and I feel like now I'm just going to be like that. I mean, how extraordinary to just absolutely embrace your true self. And it's very hard for people to do that. And I have been enormously inspired by that side of who she was.